with several NBA legends, and there's been so much talk as you see Kevin Durant on the screen. Let's just look at the most recent true legends in the NBA. Kobe Bryant won 5 titles in his career. The last 2 came with him as the focal point of his team. Back-to-back finals MVPs in 2009, 2010, won that grueling 7-game series against the Celtics. LeBron James, 4-time NBA champ, went to Miami and won those there with D. Wade and Chris Bosh, then went to Cleveland, pulled off an unbelievable championship, and that leaves us with Kevin Durant, who won his 2 titles after joining the Warriors team that had won 73 games the previous year. Since he's left there to go to Brooklyn, they've won just the 1 playoff series, and that has led to all of the conversation that has come up this week. Charles started it Friday on this show by using the term he needs to be the bus driver. I brought RG3 in here because I want to talk about that in a bigger picture. But before I do, very quickly, Bobby, without Kyrie Irving, we talked about Kyrie's and his decision a little earlier in the program. If Kyrie Irving should opt out of this and he doesn't wind up on the Nets, do they have any chance? Can Kevin Durant lead that team, him and Ben Simmons and whatever else they have? What are they?
I think the only place he'll lead him is to the playing game again. That's it. And I don't even know if Kevin Durant would even make it through a season when he looks at what the roster will look like. Basically, him, Ben Simmons, and Joe Harris on an island to himself. And Kevin Durant hasn't proved that he can stay healthy the last couple of years. So that's the other what if here. So that for me is a playing team without Kyrie Irving.
So would that lead one to wonder? There's no point in having Kevin Durant on a play-in team, right? So if Kyrie Irving opts out next week and he winds up someplace else, what are you doing right now if you're Sean Marks and you're Joe Tsai and you're running Brooklyn?
I'm looking at what the other teams have to offer for a Kevin Durant package.
You're trading Kevin Durant.
I'm not doing it right now, but I think now you have to kind of take the blinders off and now look at the big picture, because it's not going to be when, but when it's going to be what as far as him coming into you. Hey, we're in the honeymoon period right now, the offseason. When you get on the court in training camp and when you see what's around you and you go 4-10 to start the season, do you think Kevin Durant's going to want to go through that type of season?
Particularly not when what he is doing right now is responding to a lot of the questions that get raised about him and his historical greatness, which no one is disputing that he's a great player. But let's put up again, Charles Barkley said what he said last week about the driving of the bus. And Cindy, let's put KD's tweet. Again, I'll just remind everybody, we posted it. Our Get Up social team posted what Charles said, and Kevin Durant responded this way. All this stuff is nasty. Another terrible analogy from a hating old head that can't accept that we make more money than them, more bread than them. It's just timing, Chucky. Don't hate the players. So that response and Durant's manner of handling these things has created its own conversation here. Right. And RG3, I know you've been watching and I know you have some thoughts.
Yeah, Durant has been one of the most engaging superstars on social media for quite some time. And I think he's done this because athletes today try to control the narrative more than athletes in the past. You can do it with a simple tweet. So when you're talking about Charles Barkley saying that Durant wasn't the bus driver of that team, it's not like Durant was a spot-up shooter on the Warriors team. He's one of the most versatile scorers ever. He can shoot the 3. He has the mid-range game. He can slash and dash and get to the rim. So I think in Durant's defense, he was essentially saying to Charles Barkley, look, you're a legendary player. You're a legendary TV personality. But on this one, you're wrong. And maybe Charles got a little caught up in the media game of saying provocative things. And Durant has been an easy target since the Warriors won this championship.
That said, and Tim Legler, I mean, we're going to adjudicate this thing a 3rd time now this week, but what Charles said, you can disagree maybe with some of the specifics of the wording, but the general point that he's making, we all understand, which is that even if he was the best player, that wasn't his team. And if he's going to be on the list with LeBron and Kobe, like we just showed, and Michael and others, a list upon which his talent absolutely suggests he belongs, he's eventually going to have to win one with, quote unquote, his team, whether you want to call it driving the bus or however you want to phrase it, Tim. Yes?
Yeah, listen, I think Charles maybe took it a little bit too far because it sounded like almost like he was discrediting what Kevin Durant did in Golden State. He was the best player on those teams. But here's the thing. We all know this. Your historical legacy as an NBA player in particular, right, as that top guy that has to uplift and drive a team to a championship and make everybody better around you as the alpha, that is something that you need to get on your resume when these conversations come up about where you rank historically. It's just the truth. It's the reality of it. So you can say, hey, the guy's a 2-time champion. We all know not every ring carries the same weight. I will contend till the day I stop doing this that the one ring LeBron won in Cleveland weighed more than both of the rings in Miami combined because of the magnitude and the context around it and what he was able to accomplish. And for Kevin Durant, I think some of that is true. He needs to get that on his resume. Look, no one's going to ever say he's not one of the greatest talents the league has ever seen. He's one of the greatest scoring machines this league has ever seen. But when you want to start talking about these lists that we put together, it is something that I think is important for that last narrative around Kevin Durant, to be able to check that box. I went to an organization, built it from scratch, and I was the guy that uplifted everybody around us to a place that the organization had not previously been in recent memory or ever in the case of LeBron James and what he did in Cleveland.
To me, that makes sense. I feel like you were, I couldn't read your face, RG3. Very quickly, I know I need to run, but as he was talking, I could not read your face. You were agreeing or disagreeing?
I'm disagreeing just a little bit, because when you talk about LeBron James and the amount of titles that he has won, Durant's not there, right? He has to win more rings to get into that conversation, Legs. But when you talk about what he has done, he did lift the Warriors to a place that they were unstoppable. Yes, they won the ring before him, won it after him, but I think with the conversation about LeBron James and Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, yes, Durant has to win more rings. I don't think anyone is arguing that. But he is one of the greatest players of all time, even if he only has 2 rings.
The beauty of this, Bobby, is that we can get into arguments, and at some point I lose track of what we're arguing about. I really do. I lose track of what we're disagreeing about. Quick thought.
Well, I mean, what's the definition of great? I mean, that's what it is. Is Kevin Durant a top 10 player in the NBA of all time right now? No.
Right.
Is he a top 20? Of course.
Yes.
So can another ring get him into that top 10? Yes.
Fair. See, leave it to Bobby. I make a reasonable comment. We run it. Much more as we go and continue. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.